Good morning, dear students. Welcome to our session of microwave and antennas. So, in today's session, we'll start off our discussion with the Smith charts. So, before going into this discussion, let me have a recap regarding a few of the discussions what we had in at the starting sessions. So, at the starting sessions, if you remember, we had discussed regarding the transmission line concepts. That is, we obtained the equations, we obtained the solutions for those equations of the transmission lines, wherein we obtained alpha, beta, and gamma, that is attenuation, then the phase constant, then the propagation constant, and we obtained the impedance ZL, then we obtained the other parameters, that is the reflection coefficient and the transmission coefficient. So if you observe what happens is in all these estimations, you can see that so many calculations will be involved. And these are not the simple calculations what you observe. You make use of the complex numbers in order to go ahead with the multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So whatever you're doing over here, so you are using the complex multiplication approaches or complex calculation approaches what you're using in order to achieve all these things. So here, what happens is, can I obtain the same in a different form? So suppose if I want to know the reflection coefficient pertaining to a system provided, I know few of the parameters. So based on that, can I obtain it? So one is obtaining using the equations. Like if I want Z naught, if I know RLGC parameters, I'll be able to obtain what is the Z naught for that given circuit. Can I obtain it if some other parameters are given? If these parameters are not known, then a few other parameters are specified. Then how do I obtain those things? So we had all these things, right? Alpha, beta, gamma. So all these things we had discussed. So here, Smith chart is basically a graphical representation which contains different parameters such as circles which are associated with the impedance circles, circles which are associated with the resistive elements. One is a reactive element and one is associated with the resistive elements. Then you have the constant reflection coefficient circles. So using these things, what we can do is we can obtain different parameters of a given circuit. So here, just as a part of a discussion, I'll just go through few things which will be helpful when you're utilizing the Smith chart. So we can see that we have obtained reflection coefficient in terms of ZL and Z naught. So similarly, ZL and Z naught can be represented in terms of the reflection coefficient. So whenever I treat the reflection coefficient, right, I'll be having a magnitude component associated with it and a phase constant associated with it. So these, what happens is I can have circles which are associated with the magnitude representation of the reflection coefficient, and this can be obtained from the graph what we'll be observing. So at present, I'll not be going in depth discussion of these things. Just I am giving an overview pertaining to these aspects. So here we had seen a circuit which is represented. So here we have incident components. So this is the incident current, this is the incident voltage, reflected current. So this is the generator end wherein you are introducing the microwave. So this VG is associated with the voltage at the generator side, and ZG is the impedance which is associated at the generator side. And ZL is the load end. So this is called the generator side or generator end, and this is called the load end. Then there are two or three parameters what we look out for. What is the length of the transmission line? So the length of the transmission line, which is identified by the parameter L. Then apart from this, what happens is since you have, if you're assuming that this is placed along the Z axis, so if Z axis, that is Z increases in this direction, so that is it is placed along the Z axis, we'll be having a parameter which is associated with Z. So this Z will be from the generator end. It will be from the generator end. And there is another parameter what you observe which is termed as D over here. So this D is measured from the load end, and even L also you can observe that it is measured from the load end. So if I start measuring from this end, what happens is L and D will be zero at this point, and Z will be equal to the value of D. That is this length what is there, right? It will be equal to value of that parameter. And at this end, Z will be zero. So that is just a few indications, because what happens is in Smith charts, we will be using the terms like moving towards the generator, moving away from the generator, moving towards the load, or moving away from the load. So these are the terms what we'll be utilizing. So if you're moving towards the generator, you'll be referring to these parameters and you'll be utilizing those values. Or if you're moving away from the load, or you're moving towards the load, so these are the parameters what you'll be looking out. Because in some of the books, the representations are slightly different, so you can adjust with those representations. So this is for the reference in which we'll be discussing the Smith chart. So this is one thing what we have. Okay. So here we have given a representation Royal, where Royal is the will be having a magnitude and a phase constant. So now, apart from this, we also had seen that it is reflection coefficient is equal to the ratio of reflected to the incident voltage parameter. So these are a few things to note down. So based on these equations, right? Therefore, if you just observe rho L, rho D, so these are all associated with from where you are measuring. So at present, that will keep aside. So these are few equations what we have. So when we represent these equations in terms of the circle representation, we can see that this represents a circle. This represents a circle. And if you plot those circles, this is what you will be obtaining. This is what you will be obtaining for these representations. So, so if I just consider these things, so these are just a few representations which are specified. So here you can see that we are moving towards the generator. If I move at the other end, I'll be moving away from the generator. So this side is the generator and this side is the load end for the Smith chart. So that we'll be discussing when we solve the problems associated with the Smith chart. So I'm just showing a few of the representations over here. So a few other things are there. I'll just discuss that in the coming forth sessions. So now we'll just have a look at the Smith charts. Before going into this, so this is basically a Smith chart. So here you can see that there are some circles, there are some other this thing, intersection points and other steps. So along with this, what happens is so on Smith chart, you will be able to observe a few of the parameters which are specified. So here you can see that there are different parameters which you can obtain. So here you can observe that it is SWR in dB in your regular notations. Then you have the loss factor. Then you have the reflection coefficient in different forms. So this side you can see that it is towards the load, and this side you can see that there is towards the generator. So when we start solving problems, right, we'll get to know that in what direction I should be moving and what I have to consider. So those are the things what you can look out for. So you can see that on this on these lines, you'll be able to measure attenuation, transmission coefficient, reflection coefficient, all of the parameters. So here, if you just see, there is something associated with the capacitance. And if I go on top right, there is something associated with the inductive reactance. This is the capacitive reactance region. So basically, the Smith chart is divided into two parts. One is this part is for the capacitive part, and this part is for the reactive part. And along with this, you can see that there is a resistive component association. There is a straight line. Along with this, other lines are coming up. So this entire thing forms the Smith chart. So now let us just have a look at what all things it will be consisting of. So here we have constant resistance circles. So previously I just displayed regarding rho L, rho D, so those all things, right? So from that equation itself, what we do is we represent, we simplify that equation and try to represent in the form of a circle. So here, if you just observe Smith chart, right, it is nothing but it's a kind of intersection of all the different circles. So this is also a circle. So which is, so if I have to complete it, it will be like this something. It will be in this form. So this one is still larger. So these are actually the circles what you observe. So intersection of all these circles, that is the resistive and reactive circles, gives me this entire plot. So now here the first thing what we can do is the constant resistance circles. It is basically obtained by this equation. Now I'll not go into the depth of those equations. So here we can see that there are few circles on the chart. So if I start from this point and I keep on drawing these circles, right, I'll be able to obtain these circles. So these circles represent the constant resistance circles. So that is, if I consider this one and it is associated with the resistance parameter, say if it is for around, say for just an example, it is 0.5 ohm, zero point 0.5. So if this is a circle, all the values on this will be 0.5. Resistive, this thing will be 0.5. So what is its use? Later we'll just check out. So this is resistance circles. So in the graph, it is these circles what you're observing. These circles what you're observing, right? These are the resistance circles. So when these are the resistance circles, these are also the resistance circles. So you start from this point and you keep on moving. So you get all the resistance circles. So this one is the resistance circle, which is the bigger one. So these are the resistance circles which we can observe in the Smith chart. Okay, so constant resistance circles start from one point, and from that point, all the circles emerge out. So that is what we can see in this case. So from this point, if you start off and if you just observe, you have a resistance circle here, resistance circle here, resistance circle here. This is also a resistance circle. This one also is a resistance circle. So which is going and ending at the same point. So next, apart from that, we have another parameter, the reactance circle. So again, this is obtained from the equations what we have obtained previously. So from that, we represent it in the form of circles. So when we represent it in the form of circles and we plot it by considering this point, we obtain circles which are represented in this form. So here, where does this fall? So here, if you just observe, so if I start from this point, you can see that there is a line which is going in this form. So this is actually a circle. So here also you can see that here there is another line. So if I just complete it, it will be in this form. If I complete this, it will be like this. If I complete this side, this will be like this. So similarly, if I consider the other end, it will be like this. So if you just observe what is happening is, if I just consider this outer circle of the resistance, so these circles are being terminated at this point. So you can observe that these branching kind of thing, what you observe here. So these are the reactance circles. These are the reactance circles. So now what we have two things. The red one, what we have marked are the reactance circles. And this, what we have is the resistance circles. So along this line, the resistance will be constant. Along this line, the reactance will be constant. So there are two things to be noted down. One is the resistance circle, that is the constant resistance circle, which is noted as shown over here. And we have the constant reactance circles. Now, in association with this, when we combine both the constant resistance circles and we combine the constant reactance circles, we obtain a plot which is in this form. So here you can see that these are the resistance circles. So even you can have smaller ones also. So just the larger one circles are just displayed over here. So this is a resistance circle. So here you can observe. So different resistance circles you are able to observe here. Now, along with this, if you plot even the reactance circles, so these are the reactance circles. You can still continue and you can obtain a circle over here. So that we are not doing. We are just terminating it at the end. So we have reactance circles. So this one is also a reactance circle. So these are the intersections what we are obtaining. So in between also you are observing few lines, right? Those are nothing but in your log graph how you have, right? Like if you have your graph sheet, so you will be having like 1 unit, say it is equal to 1 centimeter, something you might be writing. And this is subdivided into say another small 10 units. So wherein each one smaller is equal to 1 centimeter if you are specifying, or 1 divided by 10. So in the similar way, you are having these also. So for these, the values are specified. So here, if you just observe, what we can note down is, so here you can see that some values are being specified. So we can, if I come from, so if I start from this end, if you just see, this is 0. So this outer line, what you are observing, this outer line, what you are observing, this is 0 resistance circle. This is 0 resistance circle. So as we move inside and we consider these circles, right, the resistance keeps on increasing, keeps on increasing. So this is 0. So this is 0.5. So this circle, what we are observing, this circle is associated with the resistance of 0.1. So in between, I have another one. So it is just shown partial over here. So this is actually 0.05, half of this, zero point 0.1, half of that. So this value. So similarly, 0.2's resistance circle is this circle. So on this, the resistance value will be 0.2. So similarly, if I check out this, this is having a resistance of 1. So this is a resistance 1 constant circle. So this circle, what we are observing. So as we move further, we can see that the resistance keeps on increasing. It is 1.2, 1.4, 1.8, and so on. Okay, so here we have 50. Okay, so these are the resistance circles. So how do we identify the values associated with those circles? It is based on these values what you are observing. So this circle is associated with 1, this circle is associated with 0.9, this one with the 0.8, 0.7, then you have 0.3, you have 0.1, and this is 0. So this circle, what you're saying is 0, that is resistance is 0. Now, what about the impedances? So here you can see that there are some values specified even for these lines. So here you can see that there is 0.2, this is 0.4, this is 0.6, I guess, this is 1. So and so on, it will continue. So what is this indicating? So if I consider this line, right, if I start from this end and if I consider this line, this entire line will be associated with 0.2. There is a reactive component of 0.2. This one is 0.4. So this entire line will be associated with 0.4. So similarly, you can see that those values are also specified on top also. So where the line ends. So if this line, if I consider it is around 0.4, if I consider at the end, it will be around 0.4. That is this line what you are observing. This is 0.4. This line is ending over here. So you can identify what is the value of the reactance from these values. So this is 0.4. This is for 0.5. This reactance, this thing is for 0.5. Similarly, if I consider this circle is associated with the reactance value of 1. The reactance value of 1. Okay, so if I just see here 0.6, this 0.6 is nothing but the resistance circle. So here you can see that this is 0.6. This circle is entirely a resistance circle. So even in below this thing, you can see on top, we saw that we have the the reactive component specified. So here you can see that this line corresponds to 0.2 reactance. So if I just consider here, so here also you can see that it is 0.2. Here also it is 0.2. Okay. then if I check any other value, so here it is 1. So this line which is there, which is associated with the reactive components, will give you a value of 1. So that is what is being displayed here also and here also. This one is associated with 0.9. It is associated with 0.9. So these are a few things to note down in these aspects. Now, what does since in resistance I don't have any other specification, but in reactive components I have two things. One is inductive component and one is reactive component. Capacitive component. So whenever you are considering the impedance representations, say you are considering say not parameters, you are considering the impedance parameters, and you are using these to mark the points or plot some of the aspects associated with the Smith chart. So if I'm making use of these impedances, what happens is, and I'm plotting the values. So generally what happens is, if you have something ZL, it is given by 50 plus J50. It is given by 50 plus J50. And you have characteristic impedance Z0, which is given by 50 ohms. Now, if this is the case, how do I plot ZL on this graph? So first thing to note down is you should first normalize the value. That is, you should normalize ZL. So Smith chart is actually a normal. It is a plot which gives you the normalized parameters. It gives you the normalized parameters. So in this case, how do you normalize ZL? You divide ZL by Z0. So when you do that, what you'll be obtaining? You'll be obtaining 1 plus J into 1. So here you can see that what is the resistive element? It is 1. And what is the reactive element? So we note it with B. Reactive element is 1. So here resistive element is 1 and reactive component is also 1. So how do I plot this? So here, how do I plot this normalized impedance on this? So I need to see for the resistive this thing, where is R equal to 1? So if you just observe, so this is the circle. This is the circle where R is equal to 1. So this is a circle what you identify where R is equal to 1. Okay. And B equal to 1 is nothing but, since this is plus, it will be plus 1. So here, what do I plot? So B is equal to 1. I have to see where the reactance is 1. Now here, so note down that this is also 1. And here also see, you can see that this is also 1. Now, which one I should consider? Now, since I am plotting, so here also it is plus 1, and here also it is noted as plus 1. So there is slight, this thing what you have to look out when you're plotting the impedance, right? When you're plotting the impedance, in this case, what happens is, this is indicating that the reactance is plus and the value is 1. So what does plus indicate? It indicates that it is an inductive component. It indicates that it is an inductive component. So if it is an inductive component and you're using, say, the impedance parameters, this part. So from here, when I consider this part, gives you the inductive reactance part, and this part gives you the capacitive reactance part. So this will be utilized when the value will be plus, and this will be utilized when the value will be minus. So now it is actually plus B. So which is actually equal to plus 1. So B is equal to plus 1. So here what I do is, so since it is an inductive component, I need to consider the reactances in this upper half part. That is in this part of the Smith chart. In this part of the Smith chart. So here, if I check out, where is that component 1? So this is the inductive circle or the reactive circle, which is positive, which is associated with the inductance. Okay, inductive reactance. So now where these two circles are meeting. So if you just observe, this R equal to 1 is here and this circle is here. So this point what we are observing, that is, so here you can see that this point what you are observing at the intersection, this gives you ZL by Z naught plot for the value what we are discussing over here. Now, if the same thing was minus, if it was 50 minus J 50 and Z naught was 50, so this would turn out as 1 minus J1. And in that case, B would be equal to minus 1 and R would be equal to 1. So R equal to 1 circle is already present over here. So now, since it is capacitive component, right? Capacitive reactive component, we need to consider the lower half of the Smith chart. So in this case, what happens is we need to identify where is B is equal to 1 in the lower half. So here B is equal to 1 in the lower half at this point where it is 1.0. So this circle interacts with the resistive circle at this point. So this one gives you ZL by Z naught when you have 50 minus J50. You have 50 minus J50. So this is what you have to look out when you are dealing with the Smith chart. So you have two things. One is the resistive component, that is the resistive circles. So these are the resistive circles what you are observing, and these are the reactance circles what you observe. So when you are using it for the impedance plot, why I'm specifying impedance plot, you can use a Smith chart even for plotting the admittances. For plotting the admittances, you can make use of this Smith chart. Okay. So here, if it is used for impedance plotting, right? So what happens is this half gives you the inductive reactance component and this half gives you the capacitive reactance component. If this is the line, it indicates that there is no reactive component. If this is a line, this indicates that there is no reactive component. So this is the Smith chart in which you have the constant R circles and constant reactance circles which are associated. So that is what I have specified. We call it as RL and XL. RL is the resistive circles which we are seeing in the constant resistive circles which I have seen in blue over here, and XL is the constant reactance circles which we have plotted in red over here. So now intersection of these gives you the normalized parameter. So suppose I want to know the parameter at this point. So if I note down, it is actually gives you ZL by Z naught. Now, if I want the actual ZL value, I have to multiply whatever value you have got from the plot with Z naught. So you will get the actual value of ZL in the denormalized form. So this is the use of Smith chart. Then apart from this, so the one example we had just shown over here, wherein you have ZL is equal to 85 plus j omega and Z naught is equal to 50 omega. So you need to plot ZL on this graph. So if you have to do that, then what you have to do is first thing you normalize ZL by taking ZL by Z naught. So it will be 85 by 50 plus j 30 by 50. So whatever values you get, so this will give you the resistive component, this will give you the inductive component. Since it is plus, right, it will give you the inductive component. So the plot will be in this half of the Smith chart. So this point will be in upper half part of the Smith chart. So that is how you utilize. Now you have another parameter which is associated with this, which is constant reflection coefficient circles. So this is actually a plot of the magnitude. This plot of the magnitude. Now what happens is based on the values of or the magnitude of the reflection coefficient, what you do is you need to draw the circles. You need to draw the circles. So these circles are not present in this. In this graph, it is not present. Now, this is the center of the graph for the reflection coefficients, what we want to plot. So now how do I obtain it? Now here you can see that we have not so here you can see that we have a reflection coefficient parameter which is specified. So based on these values, so now in previous case, say what we had, sorry, here we have it. Say if I consider anyone, say I'll consider 1/4. Where is 1/4 plotted? 1/4 is plotted. So here, sorry. So this is R is equal to 1 is this blue circle what you are observing. 1/4, that is 0.25, is actually the red circle what you are observing over here. Then this one is the purple circle, which is 0.5, and this one is 0.75, this circle. So how do I obtain this one? So here, say I'll consider 3/4, that is 0.75. So how do I plot this? So here you can see that there is a graph. There is a graph. So this is the reflection coefficient value. Here you can see you have maximum of 1 and minimum of 0. So if I'll try to see where 0.75 lies. So here if you just see it, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, and 0.8. So 0.75 will lie somewhere here. It will be lying somewhere here. So what does this indicate is, so 0.75 is somewhere here on the reflection coefficient value. So now what you have to do is you have to draw a circle of this radius considering this as the center. So this as the center. So if you just observe, so if I just plot it, so this is the center, and so if I just project it, so this will be the radius of the circle. So if you draw a circle with radius equal to this value, with radius equal to this value, this circle represents, so in this case, I had considered the magnitude of this one as 3/4. So this circle will be associated with 0.75 reflection coefficient. So how do you plot this circle? You identify where 0.75 lies. So you take this as the radius of the circle and consider this as the center, that is R is equal to 1. The resistive, sorry, R in the sense, so the a constant resistance circle whose value is 1. You consider that. So considering this as the center and radius equal to this value, you draw the circle. So that circle will give you the constant reflection coefficient value for the value what you have plotted. So that is what is being displayed. So therefore, this value is coming up to this point. Now, if you consider 1, right? So if you consider 1, R is equal to 1. So R is equal to 1 at this point, and this is the center. So if I just check out, if I just project it, it is nothing but this outer circle of the Smith chart. So this is R is equal to 1 circle. R is equal to 1 circle, what we are observing over here. So this is in association with the reflection coefficient. So now once you know what is the reflection coefficient, actually you will be able to estimate what is VSWR also. So since you know these parameters, you'll be able to obtain even the VSWR using this parameter. So that is you need to plot, you need to project this onto the VSWR parameter and obtain what is the value. So here, if you just observe 0.7 was somewhere here. So if I just project it, if I just see it is this is the SWR, this one. So when I just project it, I'll be getting it somewhere over here. So I'll be having a value of VSWR associated with that. So if I plot the constant R circles, right? That is the reflection coefficient circles. I'll be able to obtain even the VSWR value. So these are just a few things to note down for Smith charts before you start off. So in the coming fourth session, we'll be having a discussion regarding the problems which are associated with these things. So in this case, you dealt with the constant resistance circles, constant reactance circles. In constant reactance circles, when you're using the impedance, which will be associated with plus and which will be associated with minus. So that is what we had discussed. So if you're using Z, this will give you plus and this will give you minus. That is, this is for inductive and this is for capacitive. Now the same thing if you take Y, right? So what happens is, so if you have Z is equal to A plus JB, and when I take 1 by Z, it will give you Y. So in that case, what happens is I'll be having X minus some J value. I'll be having it in this form, X minus J value. So for this one, what happens is, this is the opposite of resistance, and this is the opposite of the reactance, which is the conductance. So here what happens is, when you are using Y admittance, when you're using Y admittance, right? For admittance, so I'll just write this side. For admittance, if you get minus in the reactive component, you consider the upper half part. And when you get plus in the reactive component, you consider the lower half part. So if you're using impedance values, this one is inductive, this one is capacitive. Therefore, this is plus, this is minus. But when you're using Y, right, it will be reversed. So if you get a minus sign in the result, this part will be associated with the minus this thing, and this part will be associated with the plus parameter. So these are the two changes what you have to look out for. So you have constant resistance circles, constant reactance circles. Under that, you have the inductive and the capacitive components. Reactance is what you observe. So if you're using Z, which part will be for which purpose, whether inductive or capacitive? And if you're using Y, which one gives you the inductive and which one gives you the capacitive? And lastly, we discussed regarding the constant reflection coefficient circles. So this is all for today. Let us meet in the next session. Thank you.